Hey everyone, it's me, Thomas Murphy Cosplay, and today we're going to be looking at my updated Dark Magician deck profile. Now, before we get to the actual deck, I just wanted to let you guys know that I actually been trying to build an actual functioning Dark Magician deck for a fairly long time. I do love my Red Eyes deck, but I wanted to play a different type of deck at the same time, just so I won't be stuck with the same one over and over again. And Dark Magician's my second favorite archetype. And yeah, in the past I haven't really made a proper Dark Magician deck, and I think this time I have succeeded. And also, I got a Dark Magician Tarzo, as well as a Buster Blader Tarzo, and a Timaeus dice. Just like how I got the Hermos for my Red Eyes deck. Oh yeah, and another thing is that this deck is basically where I'm supporting the Dark Paladin Timaeus cards. So yeah, it is two different archetypes kind of, but they do have cards that support each other anyway. So yeah, I'm doing using Dark Magician and Buster Blader. Speaking of those, of course, I run 3 copies of Dark Magician. I run 3 copies of Buster Blader, and this Buster Blader has kind of a printing error compared to all the other ones. Just kind of funny. Gains attack points for dragon types in the field or graveyard. Well, is it my opponent's side of the field, or your opponent controls, or in their graveyard? Yeah. 3 copies of Buster Whelp, which literally looks like my cat. What I love about him is that not only that he kind of looks like my cat, but it's actually a really good way to summon Buster Blader. And while you have Buster Blader in your hand and you summon this, you can pull out a really effective combo out of it. Yeah, so when you normal summon this, you can add a Destruction Sword card from your deck to your hand, and then you can tribute this special summon Buster Blader, but you can discard a Destruction Sword card, summon this from the graveyard, and yeah. And you can do a bit of synchro summoning since this little fella's a tuner. I run 2 copies of Magician's Souls. Basically, you can actually play this, discard 2, or send 2 spell cards to the graveyard, spell or trap cards to the graveyard, draw 2 cards, as well as sending a Dark Magician to the graveyard. And you contribute this and summon Dark Magician. So it's kind of a foolish burial, as well as, yeah, kind of odd. I'm actually going to be running 2 because I feel like that I have more cards that can summon Dark Magician than I do with summoning Buster Blader, to be honest with you. I run 2 copies of Apprentice Illusion Magician. She's kind of a, she basically, you can easily summon her by discarding a card, summon this out. You could also use it as kind of a hand trap if you want, where you could just discard this and give any Dark Spellcaster monster 2,000 attack points. Whether it be your turn or your opponent's turn, or in the battle phase, so which is actually pretty cool. I run 2 copies of Timaeus the United Dragon. Now, this is actually a really cool card because you can actually not just play it as an actual monster, you can even, you don't need polymerization or any fusion spell card if you want to fuse with your Dark Magician. With a spellcast monster, so you can actually fusion summon monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a spellcaster. So it's actually pretty cool how you don't need a polymerization. You could just play this and then instantly summon, fusion summon. I run 1 copy of Palladium Oracle Mahad, and I run 1 copy of Dark Magician of Chaos, which Palladium Oracle Mahad, when you draw this, you can play it as soon as you get it out, and when you're battling a dark monster, this card doubles its attack points, which is actually pretty nice. I used to run like 3 of them, and I'm like, nah, that's not ideal, because they just kind of brick ya, and I think having 1 copy is good enough. And Dark Magician of Chaos, when you play this, you can actually grab any spell card from your graveyard, and if this and when you attack and destroy a monster, you can actually banish. So that's actually a really cool thing. So just letting you know that about this deck, you're going to see a lot of banishing cards. You're going to be banishing a lot of cards, unlike my Red Eyes, where you don't do a whole lot in my Red Eyes. I mean, you just burn your opponent's life points. But yeah. So, that is it for monster cards. We'll get on to the spell cards. For spell cards, I run 3 copies of Dark Magic Veil. Basically, pay 1,000 life points to summon a Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard. I run 2 copies of Secrets of Dark Magic, which is your kind of like your equivalent of Red Eyes Fusion or Ultimate Fusion. I don't know what the Blue Eyes Fusion spell card is. I mean, I don't use Greater Polymerization, but yeah, Secrets of Dark Magic. You can treat it as not just a fusion spell, but also as a ritual spell if you want. And yeah, this helps you with fusion summoning a couple of your best Dark Magician fusions. And it is also searchable with Dark Magic Circle, which basically when you play this, you can search out for the top 3 cards, and if it's a Dark Magician base card, you can actually grab it out soon, right away, so you can actually, goes well with Secrets of Dark Magic. And also when you summon a Dark Magician card, you can actually instant banish any card on the field. I play 2 copies of Emblem of Dragon Destroyer, help search for your Buster Blader, if you want to, for your fusion summoning. I run 1 copy of Dark Magic Attack, basically a Harpy's Feather Duster, but for your Dark Magician. I run Secret Village of the Spellcasters, since we're going to have, since this is of course a Spellcaster deck, that you can actually play this. I did run 2, but I felt like that it is kind of a risky card to play, because if I don't have any Spellcaster monsters, I can't activate any spells, which is kind of a downfall, but Still a good card, but it can sometimes backfire and bite you in the ass. But it's still a good, but it's literally one of my favorite fusion field spell. Yeah. So it is pretty good. Speaking of fusion spells, I do run one copy of the Eye of Timaeus, which actually only allows you to play only three different types of Dark Magician fusion monsters, of course. I run one copy of Destruction Swordsman Fusion. I used to run two, but, you know, this is another thing. It's not a risky card to play at all, no. But it is searchable with the Buster Whelp, and also what makes it extra good is that you can discard any card that you have in your hand. You can add this back to your hand and make another fusion summoning. Because like what I said, it is a Dark Magician Buster Blader deck for your Dark Paladin. Anyways, when I said about banishing cards, I also run one copy of Soul Absorption, a continuous spell card that, since you're going to be banishing a lot of cards and paying life points as well, I felt like this is really an ideal card to play. And for searching, I play one copy of Dark Magic Inheritance, which banish two spell cards and search for any Dark Magician card. So when you play this, you gain 1,000 life points, which, yeah, most of the time you're going to be banishing a lot of cards. So having Soul Absorption, yeah. One copy of Foolish Burial to help with sending any card from your deck to the graveyard. And one copy of Foolish Burial Goods, which helps with the Destruction Swordsman Fusion. And then you take it back, grab it, and then search it back anyway with that. And one copy of Monster Reborn. That is it for spell cards. Let's get into traps. So for trap cards, I almost said spells, we played Destruction Sword Memories. When you play this as a face-down trap card, you can summon a Buster Blader card, but when it's in the graveyard, I mainly prefer using its graveyard effect, especially since it goes well with your Buster Whelp and your Buster Blader. So when you synchro summon Buster Dragon, which we will get to later, you can banish your Buster Blader and your Buster Whelp and this card from your graveyard and fusion summon Buster Blader the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, which we'll get to later. So it's pretty cool if you want to. As I said, I just prefer it as a fusion spell card rather than a face-down trap that you can just summon Buster Blader from the deck. So yeah, really cool. Unlike my Red Eyes deck where I just rely on one fusion spell, this has like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this has various different types of fusion spells, which I'm not a fan of, but at least it's still effective. Another trap card, which I rather play in the hand, which is Infinite Impairments. Basically, when you don't have anything on the field, you can just stop your opponent from activating spell cards or card effects, like a hand trap. Well, it is a hand trap. Oh my god. Anyways, that's it for the trap cards, really. let's get into the hand traps. This is still a hand trap though. For hand traps, I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom, stop your opponent from grabbing anything from their deck, or Foolish Burial, or anything like that. 2 copies of Ghost Ballet Haunted Mansion, stop your opponent from grabbing anything from the graveyard, or, yeah, so kind of the inversion, and 1 copy of Effect Veiler. I kind of feel like that Apprentice Illusion Magician is kind of a hand trap, but it also works with other stuff, but yeah. That's it for hand traps. Stops your opponent from activating card effects, of course, but yeah, I forgot to say that. But that's it for hand traps. Let's get into the extra deck. Right, for extra deck, for Link Monsters, I run 1 copy of Protector Whelp and Destruction Swordsman. Basically, if this card is Link Summon, and you can send 1 Destruction Sword card from your deck to the graveyard. And if I do, I can special summon Buster Blader from your hand or from your hand. But the cool thing is that you can actually do a bit of life point damaging if you want. So it's kind of a burn as well as attacking directly, because what it says, I don't always use this that much, but it's still a good card. It's still a good card. Saying that you can target 1 Buster Blader monster you control that did not declare an attack this turn, so inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack points, but you can only use this once per turn. So that's pretty dangerous, but pretty cool. I play Transcode Talker, kind of like Decode Talker a little bit, but it's Earth attribute. And yeah, so it's kind of like another Decode Talker, but with different arrows linked. And when I put in an extra monster on my Transcode Talker, I can make Firewall Dragon, which when you play this, you can bounce any card from the field back to the hand, so that's pretty cool. And if a monster that's co-linked anyway, if this card points to... So if a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 monster from your hand, so that's actually pretty cool. That's it for Link Monsters. I don't really have much in the way of links, but I mean, like, I did have a few for my Red Eyes. For Xyz Monsters, I play Ebon High Magician and Ebon Illusion Magician. I haven't really used I haven't really used much of Links and Xyz Monsters because of, well, I'll show you later. But Ebon Illusion Magician is actually a pretty fine card. You can actually not just use level 7s, but also level 6 monsters if you want. Ebon High Magician, basically you can play any trap card from your hand by detaching an Xyz material. Now, even though that this deck is about Buster Blader and Dark Magician, at the same time, if I was doing a full permanent Dark Magician deck, I would be running 3 copies and be using oh, I forgot the name of that trap card. It's a continuous trap card that you can summon Dark Magician, but all Dark Magician cards cannot be affected. Yeah, no, I remembered it, but I can't I know what I'm talking about, but I can't remember the name. It's on the tip of my tongue anyways. Yeah, and this, basically, you can summon... Wait, what else does it do? So you can target one, and yeah, when a spellcaster normal monster declares an attack, you can target one card your opponent controls and banish it. So more banishing, more banishing, thanks to Soul Absorption and all these other cards. Yeah, I did tell you that it was, you banish a lot of cards. I play 2 copies of Buster Dragon. It's basically a monster version of DNA Surgery, but all your opponent's monsters become dragon types, which is an absolutely hilarious and kick-ass thing to do, because of the fact that when I said about that combo of about synchro summoning Buster Whelp in one turn, you can also you're able to synchro summon Buster Dragon, and while the synchro materials are in the graveyard, including Destruction Sword Memories, you can summon out this guy, Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. Another thing about is that you can also special summon a Buster Blader from your graveyard if you want. So that's another thing. But yeah, Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. You can't summon this in any other ways. So when you have this on the field, this card gains 1,000 attack points for every dragon that's in the field or graveyard. It's in the graveyard. Not on the field, fuck. Yeah, every dragon that's in the graveyard gains attack points for every dragon that's in the graveyard. But all dragon types are changed to defense position. So when you have this guy on the field, all your opponent's monsters basically get switched into defense mode. And when this attacks a monster, it can actually inflict piercing damage. A defense position monster, it inflicts piercing damage. And also your opponent, but the downfall is that it can't attack directly, which is kind of a downfall. So gains 1,000 attack points for all dragons in the graveyard, not on the field. Not on the field, just the graveyard, which kind of sucks. But yeah, 2 kind of downfalls, which is kind of understandable. Yeah. But still a really good card. The reason why this is a Dark Magician and Buster Blader deck is that I run 2 copies of Dark Paladin. It's a little bit like when I play Lord of the Red and equip him with the Red Eyes Black Dragon Sword, but this guy has a negating effect, and it's just 1 card, really. 1 card, basically. But what I also love about it is that when your opponent activates a spell card, you can discard 1 card. Yeah, you can discard 1 card on the field and negate the activation if I do destroy it. And you can also gain attack points for every dragon type that's in the field or graveyard. Yeah. Which this, of course, is your boss monster. Yeah, so Dark Paladin is your boss monster. Oops. And anyways, I also run 1 copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon for the whole Red Eyes thing. Which I've already covered up with my Red Eyes Dark Dragoon in my Red Eyes deck. And this is, of course, my favorite Dark Magician fusion monster. And speaking of Dark Magician fusing with dragons, I run 2 copies of Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Which basically, this card's name becomes Dark Magician, but all your spell cards are protected by this card. So your Soul Absorption and your Dark Magic Circle. Eternal Soul! That is what I was trying to talk about when I had said Ebon High Magician. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, so having Dark Magician the Dragon Knight on the field, your Dark Magic Circle and your Eternal Soul is protected by anything that would pop it off. And of course, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight is one of my favourite Timaeus fusions. Amulet Dragon, dog shit. But this is a much better card. Same here with Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight, but I'm sorry, but this deck doesn't have Dark Magician Girl in it, just Dark Magician and Buster Blader. Yeah, so that's it for the Dark Magician deck. I did want to bring this, I did want to introduce you guys to this deck. I really wanted to do a YouTube video of it, but due to a few things that's happening, and especially since Christmas is coming, I didn't really get the chance to review this deck, but I had built it. I had tested it out, and it actually works. Thank God. Anyways, I will see you guys later, and thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I'm very proud of myself with this deck. Anyways, not perfect, but yeah, it's alright. It's good. It's good. Anyways, bye.